In a world full of movie podcasts, here is one more. Welcome to Defend Your Movie with Sean Donnelly.
The time has come again. The champion must stand. It can only be one of us. Victoria! So stand up and fight, my friend. There's a title you must defend. Shut it on, bring it to me. Defend your movie.
Hi there, folks arenos. Folks arenos. Welcome to another edition of Defend Your Movie. I am your host, Sean Donnelly. I am here with my awesome co-host, Farrah Brooke,
Hello.
who is dressed like she's she's a life coach from 1996. She has a nice blazer on.
Is
and
it
a
my
dress.
fault that Alex keeps it negative 20 degrees in here? It's a hostile environment for my skin.
Farrah, I'm so glad to have you here. It's so
I'm
good to
so
see
happy
you.
to be
You're my
here.
friend.
Thank you for having
You're
me.
hilarious. Would you like to introduce our guest
I
for the
am
week,
hilarious. I'm so excited about our guest.
please? Yes.
He's a great pal. He's host of the Morning Coffee podcast. He's a comic all around the city, all around the country.
Whoa.
Please put your hands together for Chris Calogero.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you guys so much. Oh, thank you. The live studio audience really adds a lot.
It really does.
Yeah.
We do it every time. We always introduce like it's a comedy show.
Oh, thank you so much. You guys have such a warm co-hosting presence, relationship. It was like you guys greeted each other like you came home from the war.
I'm just happy to hang.
I'm so happy that you're here.
Well,
Sean's
because
so busy.
for a couple weeks, I don't think we had you here on the show for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Right? And then you were here last time, but not the time before. I think that's what it was.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm glad I could be
when
here for
messed
the
it-
reunion.
Yes, absolutely.
We're
This is
thrilled.
like, remember when Sam and Diane got together on Cheers? This is the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Farrah being on the podcast.
It's great. Will they? Won't they?
Will they, won't they?
I'm a little bored by this.
Well, thanks for doing this, man.
Thanks for having me.
It's funny. Me and Chris, we're friends, but I guess we're comedy friends. But we're friends. I think Chris is a really funny dude. I think you're a
Oh,
great
thank you
guy.
very much.
But it's one of those things
Okay.
where for a while you lived in Jersey, we don't hang out, and we're friends. Where I'm like, I think if we lived near each other, we'd hang out all the time.
Right.
I have that. You're like one of those people I think in my life where I think if we were more closer proximity to each other,
Right.
I think we would hang out.
Is
Yeah.
that the same with us, Sean? Or what's the problem?
Anyway, what's Sean was saying?
Me and you, I would hang out with you less if we lived closer together.
No,
no,
I agree. I was living in Jersey for a bunch of years. Like I started stand up, and I lived in Jersey for like the first 7 years I was doing stand up. So it was always like sort of tough to hang out.
Yeah, absolutely. And then there's also a thing where we always got lumped together. I think people would always mistake me for you, and I think vice versa. Right?
Seriously?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got one time I was at
When
a
I had
thing.
more hair, he has way more hair than I do.
That is literally the only time anybody's ever said that to me. One time I was waiting for a show, and there was like comics hanging out, and like a couple of young bucks were hanging out, and the guy came up to me. He's like, "Hey, man, great set at Caroline's the other night," and I was like, "Wait, what? When was that?" And he's like, "Yeah, like with that heckler," and I was like, I stopped and said, "Went Sean Donnelly," and he was like, "Yeah, sorry, dude," and I was like, "I'll pass it on to him." So I think this is years later now, but this kid really liked you.
Well, yeah, we dated
that.
for like 3 months. That happens sometimes. I think we do look similar. You lost a bunch of weight. You look fantastic.
Oh, thank you very much.
I'm still a fat shit, but like I do
No.
think we do resemble each other. We used to more.
The beard also
The beard
trips
does
people
it.
up.
Yes. And
I'm
people-
starting to see it, even though I never did. Like, now that you started talking about
Yeah,
it.
people
I
just-
have a lot of comedy doppelgangers. There's like 5 people I get mistaken
No,
for.
there's not, is there?
Yeah, and at first I found it annoying, but now I'm just like, wow, I'm doing so much stage time, putting in all the hangs. Wherever they are, I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like having clones out there.
I'm all over the scene.
yeah.
You're like, that was a great party, and you're like at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, what ends up happening is that I think people, when it comes to guys with beards, people just see the beard and that's it.
Yeah.
Because even, somebody mistook John Nunn for me. You know John
Yeah,
Nunn.
yeah.
And John Nunn is probably a foot taller than me and actually weighs a little bit more than me. And dresses completely. He was he wears denim jackets all the time. He's very like a hard rock looking dude. And after I did Letterman, somebody at Stand Up New York congratulated him on Letterman. Great job on Letterman. And we really don't look. If you look at us, we look nothing alike. Like we really don't. If you put we look more alike than
because we're like similar height.
Yes,
but also I think I used to get like people would like just you casually get referenced as like Zach Galifianakis. You know what I mean? Because he's like the most famous bearded comedian, I guess. And like, I'd be like, okay, no, there's no way. He's got luxurious hair.
I get the big one. I don't know if I've talked about it on the podcast, but it's big. I get not big. I mean, I get it all the time. Is Kyle Kinane? But I'm like substantially fatter than Kyle Kinane, so I feel bad every time somebody does it.
You feel bad for Kinane?
Yeah, I feel bad for him.
Now
I
never thought of this before, but I fully see it.
I see it in the face. We do look alike.
Yeah.
And we have the same hairline and everything, and the beards are
like
similar.
Same.
But
talking.
there was I don't know if I mentioned this story in the podcast before. When I was in Montreal one time, I guess he was there as well. And this guy, he was probably 50-year-old dude, heavy-set guy, had like, short sleeve button down shirt, kind of a weird vibe to him. I'm talking to somebody in like the hallway, in like a hotel hallway, hotel lobby. I'm standing there, we're talking, and then out of nowhere, the person I'm talking to goes, I think that guy wants you. And I turn around, and it's just the guy standing there with an 8x10 glossy of Kyle Kinane.
Oh, no.
And he just goes, Kyle?
No.
And I go, oh. I literally thought it would be okay, and I go, no, I'm sorry, man, I'm not Kyle Kinane. And he doesn't leave. He stays.
Ew.
Yeah. And then I'm waiting there, and I go, I swear to you, I'm not lying. I'm not
is.
Kyle Kinane. And he's like, Kyle?
No,
Kyle.
Ew.
And I'm like,
why didn't you just
man.
sign it?
Because I'm not an asshole. I don't want to be an asshole.
I do not. If anyone can explain to me what an autograph does,
I think it was I think it's a remnant of like old show business. Like I think it used to mean something, and people would like collect them and sell them, and they would be valuable.
Why though?
And
Someone's written name?
they're done.
I think what happens is that there's people that just have books like that. When I was there for that festival, you had people in the lobby that they saw you, they had my picture, and nobody knows who the fuck I am, but I think they just look at the roster and they just look up headshots and they probably file it away. Like anything happens with this guy, I have the photo.
Yeah, no, I think that there was
sell it to a pizzeria or something.
I think it was all those pizzerias. Those people never went to those pizzerias.
Yeah.
They buy them.
They buy them. Yeah.
I think it is like a remnant of like old Hollywood fans though. Like, and old teenager
pizza culture of like this person was here. This is the proof.
Yeah, that's so weird.
There was a guy I opened up for David Allen Greer at Stress Factory.
Dag,
not to be confused with Jag, which was a military show on CBS in the 90s. And Dag was there, and he was a really nice guy. But there's a kid that always goes to the Stress Factory, and he gets pictures of everybody who works there.
Yeah.
Like to the point where he has multiple pictures with people, and then he brings the last one he took, he prints one out. Like say he took a picture with you, and he sees you again. He'll bring the last one you guys took together. So it's him holding a picture of you guys in a picture. And then he has like 4 versions of that of certain people. So it's like this weird mind fuck. It's like, the inception of band photos.
Is he single?
Well, it's a little bit. I think he's obsessed because he has all these celebrity pictures on his Instagram.
Very nice of you to say. I think.
So he did the thing where I told David Allen Greer, I go, this guy's outside and he wants to get a picture with you, and he goes, come on, and then David Allen Greer goes, can you just tell him I'm not here? I go, well, he knows you're in here. It was like in the green room, and he's like, just I don't know, man, I'm in the middle of something. He wasn't, and I'm like, all right, so I go out and I go, hey man, I think he's on the phone with like his wife or something. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe I don't think it's gonna be able to happen right now. So then the kid's like, all right, no problem. And I was like, all right, that worked, no problem. He just waited.
Yeah, of course.
And I went to get a drink, and I came back, and I go, hey man, like I said, I think he's like in the middle of stuff. He's not gonna come out until he goes up, and he might not be able to take a picture with you. He goes, well, wait, the worst thing you can say is no, right? I'm like, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, it's like, that's the worst position to be in, where you're
God.
like, you did all the things, and like the situation hasn't been resolved, and you're like, so cool.
Yeah, and it's funny because I felt bad at first because when David was saying that, I'm like, oh come on, man. And then seeing it in action, I'm like, oh, I get why he didn't want to go out.
Right.
I totally get it.
And it's not fair.
And then what ended up happening was the guy, Daniel LaGuerre is like, I have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And the bathroom's outside the green room, so he goes out, and the kid's like, hey, can you take a picture of me? And he's like, hey, not now, after the second show. So the kid went to the first show and waited the whole second show, and then he took a picture with Daniel LaGuerre.
At least you got the
Jesus
picture.
Christ.
Persistence will get you where you want to be.
Wow.
So listen, I'm actually excited. We were trying to figure out what to do. We're doing a different thing with the podcast these days, and for full transparency, two things I want to happen. I want to tell you guys why we're doing this, and I also want feedback. Tweet at us at Defend Your Movie and let us know what you think of the new format. What we're doing now, the way it used to be is Chris would have came in with a movie that's a guilty pleasure for him that nobody likes, that he likes, and he was going to defend the movie. We have such a hard time. People cannot come up with movies.
It's all Chris's fault.
It's all Chris's fault. No, it's not. Actually, no, I never even asked you, because the new format we're going to do, we're going to have movie versus movie. We're going to do it a different way. It's going to be more of a competition than it really is than just explaining about a movie you never saw or a movie that nobody likes that you like. So I want you guys, if you like the format, let us know. If you don't like the format, constructively let us know.
Internet, be cool.
Yeah. So we were trying racking our brain, trying to think of a good verses for this podcast today with Chris, and we came up with a great one. And it's a movie that we've mentioned before a bunch, because I actually love. I like one of these movies. I love the one that you're defending. I love is. And what we're going to do is it's going to be Zodiac versus Seven.
Yeah.
And for a bit of background on both movies, they're both David Fincher movies. I think we should explore the idea that David Fincher might be one of the most underrated directors out there.
I think he's. Yeah, I think he is. I think he is pretty underrated. I don't know what happened in. I feel like he was a hot commodity for a minute after Seven, and then now he makes movies and people like them, but they don't do well.
Well, did he make? Was it All the Money in the World? Was that him?
No, that was old Ridley. Ridley Scott.
Okay, that was right. Okay.
So the last thing that Fincher did was I want to say Gone Girl.
Oh, see, but Gone Girl was great, but people shit on Gone Girl.
Yeah,
Gone Girl's a really good movie.
Gone Girl is really good for what it is. Like, it's like a gossipy, trashy sort of thriller.
That sounds fun to me.
You know what Gone Girl is? It's a better Basic Instinct.
Basic Instinct, hot take, terrible. I hate that movie.
It stinks. It's a trashy movie.
It's a Showtime original.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a glorified cable movie.
It's a Skinamax movie.
He has a movie coming out next year.
He is really, but here's the thing: he's never been lauded as a genius, and he's a really great director. He started, you know why? It might have been because he started as a TV and music video director. He directed the Janie's Got a Gun video.
He was,
but he's the director. I'm looking up all his movies. Like, he's the director of all. From my normal ignorant perspective, he's the director of all these super famous movies. Why are you saying he's not respected?
But when the discussion happens on these movies, he's respected, but it's talked about like he's just more competent than you should put him up there with all the big greats. Like,
people don't.
He has because I'm like read off his list of movies if you have it in front of you.
No, I do. Yeah, like Fight Club,
right?
Seven,
Social Network,
Benjamin Button.
Now, when you think of legendary movie directors. You think of Tarantino, you think of Wes Anderson, you think of Oliver Stone, you think of all these guys. Fincher blows Oliver Stone out of the fucking water.
I feel like he's I think he is respected, and I think people think he's great, but I think he's kind of glided over on the pantheon of movie directors. And also I think he's had this weird late stage run of movies that Zodiac should always be talked about as that movie should have won every award.
Yes.
It was
it should have cleaned up at the Oscars.
Right.
It didn't. I don't think he was it nominated for Best Picture?
I'm not sure that it was, but that's a great movie.
I think that's what we were shocked about.
And Social Network is a
I love Social Network.
And that was nominated, but I'm guessing he was probably nominated. Put it this way, Social Network is a really great movie. He might have been nominated as Best Director, but did not have a chance.
Right.
But the movie might have won as Best Picture, didn't it?
No, it was nominated. I don't know that it won.
Okay.
But also, like, that... Bless
you.
That movie has, like... It's weird, because, like, now with everything going on with old Zucks...
Yeah.
That movie's, like, weirdly grown in
almost,
prescience and, like, stature. You know
I need to rewatch that movie.
I feel like it will... I feel like it stands up even more now, knowing what we know about.
Well, does it kind of changes the vibe of the movie a little bit?
Right.
Because it makes you be like, oh...
They're all fucked up.
You were supposed to be
evil.
like, Zuckerberg is... Right. He was almost the hero, the weird Asperger-y hero of that movie.
But
and then now it's like, oh, no, it's way more loaded than this, and they were getting away with a lot more stuff.
But it has that beautiful final shot. That movie is like makes him like the saddest, most pathetic person in the movie when he's just refreshing the girl's Facebook page.
Yeah,
remember that?
Yeah. Yep, it's a great movie.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: it's like that's Fincher. Like the guy's way more of an artist. It's not just like he's a competent, popular movie director. The guy, like, I think you can put him up. Like, one of the things I love about the Coen Brothers, I think the Coen Brothers might be the best directors of all time.
They're my favorites.
They're amazing, and the reason I like them so much is if you watch a Coen Brothers movie, you don't even need to know it's Coen Brothers just by the shots alone and how it's shot. Sometimes you can just be like, oh, that's Coen Brothers because of the, I wouldn't even call the cinematography. I guess just the directing of the movie, like the type of shots they have and all that,
and also the characters that they populate their movies with.
And Fincher, I think you could do that with him with lighting and with because everything he has is very it's almost dark. Like,
right.
I mean, literally dark, not just dark in tone.
My dad
dark.
hates Fincher for
Does
that
he?
reason because he can't see anything.
It's true.
a very old man complaint about movies, you know. Or he's like, I can't see anything.
I can't follow
Goddamn
this shit.
movie.
Yeah. That's funny.
It's like a guy who like turns his like iPhone brightness up to like you know.
Yes.
Yeah, where he's in like a room.
You need to see it. I don't care about the goddamn art.
But he's right. But it's literally dark. Everything is dark. Even from back when he did that Aerosmith video, like you could see the similarities in that. Like, and the same way with the Coen Brothers, they did Blood Simple. You look at that and it's like, oh, this is a baby version of every movie they were about to do.
Right.
And like with whatever resources they had. So if you have somebody that's so recognizable like that, why aren't they a super, 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 super famous? This guy should be in the pantheon, in the hallways of these other guys.
I do think that there is something to say about about in terms of like where he is in relation to these other directors, because I do feel like some of these other guys like Tarantino, Wes Anderson, there's like a run up to their movies coming out. You know, people are like, oh, the new Tarantino or the new Wes Anderson. And Fincher doesn't necessarily have that same sort of thing where like, oh, some people are like, the new Fincher's coming out.
Well, I think where I just realized probably what it is. I think it's difference between director and writer-director. So Wes Anderson writes his movies and directs them.
Right.
But then,
And Tarantino does
if
too.
you look at Wes Anderson, which we're talking about in the next episode, but I'll just say this one little thing. Wes Anderson... The reason the early Wes Anderson ones are good is because of Owen Wilson, and everybody knows that. And then they just got more and more into this fantasy world, and they're still good, but they're more cutesy now than they've ever
Right.
been.
Well, he's just like everything is like in its
own
place.
universe. Yeah. And then you have Tarantino. They probably get excited because it's written, directed by
people.
written,
No,
directed by.
I think there's something to that. But yeah, I feel like there's always like a lead up to those movies that happens like months in advance, whereas like Fincher doesn't necessarily enjoy the benefit of that.
I think you're right, and I think, but it's like, he's a guy who probably took not okay scripts. They're good scripts, like Fight Club. Like he's making these things better than they would have been in somebody else's hands.
I think
Just the
Fight Club
look of
could
it.
have for sure been like a very. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
it as it
It could have been
stands,
very
it's
cheesy.
It's a broy movie in
Yeah,
general.
yeah.
But it could have been horribly like frat-tacular.
Yeah, and I
without
think,
his guiding hand.
and
on
so what
it.
we want to do today, we want to do a versus of Seven. What's better, Seven or Zodiac? And we both are on the same page. I think Zodiac is a way better movie than Seven is. I think that when it comes to Seven, the reaction to Seven was so much different than the reaction to Zodiac.
Seven hit. I feel like Seven hit pop culture like a juggernaut.
It was like shocking for the time.
Right, and I think in that period of time, so that was I think Fincher's first movie that hit because he'd done Alien 3, underrated by the way.
Oof, we did that on here. Saint
yeah.
Germain, it's terrible. Alien 3.
I like Alien 3.
The basketball scene. Why does she know basketball all of a sudden?
Why does she know basketball?
Why does she just know how to play amazing? She's Jordan out of nowhere.
That's a not good one moment. But
Yeah.
but so then Seven is like his first big one, and I think you also have to remember Fincher was sort of weirdly not respected because he came from music videos.
That's what I was saying.
No, I know, like,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like he's overcome that now to the degree where we've talked about. But
Right.
like at the time, people were like, "This guy's going to ruin movies because he's got a rock music perspective," you know.
Well, you know what it is? That's a success story. He went in and he was like, "I want to show you fools what I can do." The opposite end of that, one that didn't work out, was Hype Williams. Remember Hype Williams?
Yeah.
Hype Williams was another movie.
Dude, Hype Williams made like,
He made Belly. He
Belly,
did
right?
both Belly movies,
Yeah.
but they were terrible movies.
but
And he still had his look to it, but his look only worked for music video. So when you're watching Belly, I watched it once, you're like, this is a giant music video.
It's a music
with no
video,
music,
yeah.
Or with music in the background.
well, everybody thought that like music video directors were going to like ruin cinema
right.
in that moment in like the mid to late 90s.
And it's also a thing where it's like, why would they? They're still directors. And especially with Fincher, like in the 90s, there were storylines throughout all of those. Like once again, the Janie's Got a Gun video. There's a whole really dark storyline in that thing. It's about her getting molested and then shooting the father.
But people don't see the director. People don't see the.
That's what it is. That's
You know,
what it's about,
yes.
right?
Should we
Yes.
do Attack of the Stats?
Yes, you want to do it?
Attack of the Stats.
I like that. We should call that Attack of the Stats.
Do you guys have
This is
a little drop for
Seven
that?
versus
No.
Alien. I'm filling
It's just
in
hard.
all the music. I'm
drops?
picking up all the music and sound effects. We need
Attack
some
of the Stats.
Stats.
Let's stack them up against each other.
Stats.
So you wanna-
Stacks on stats. Stats on stats.
Stacks on stacks on stacks.
I think Ferris having a stroke.
Okay. Anyway, we start with Seven. It's rated R. It's a 1995 drama crime film.
Yeah.
It runs at 2 hours and 8 minutes. It has an 8.6 out of 10 IMDb, an 80% Rotten Tomatoes, 65% Metacritic, and 88% of Google users like this movie. This movie features a cast of Brad Pitt, Kevin Spacey, Morgan Freeman, Gwyneth Paltrow, R. Lee Ermey, Andrew Kevin Walker,
He's in that? Arlie Army is?
and more.
You know what happens is this. Like we talked about. Now, this is in the circumstances, but another thing that Seven did was it spawned, not a genre, but it spawned a look of other movies. Because after that came out, I remember 95, that movie Fallen came out with John Goodman, which was like and Elias Koteas, where things kept
The Touch?
jumping. Where they kept touching each other, the demon kept going.
Goes through, yeah.
Yes, they had that. Even you could say all those Morgan Freeman, Ashley Judd things were like Seven-ish feeling.
By
Like,
the way, half a problematic cast off the bat on that movie now.
what's up?
Morgan Freeman and Kevin Spacey
yeah.
in that movie.
Okay, wait.
Rough
Now
one.
let me put Zodiac next to it.
Hold on, one thing that you said, I think it did spawn a genre too, though. The serial killer movie like exploded after that. After Seven came
It
out,
did, right?
Yeah.
But they were doing it, but they weren't doing it as well. Like
No, it was copies
like
of
that
copies.
the what's in the box at the end of the movie and of Seven is like it's classic. I think that's another thing
I
that
haven't
happens.
seen either.
I think
of
a
the
movie
movies,
after
just to be clear.
You haven't seen either of them?
No.
Oh, okay, sorry.
All right, we'll take a
But-
quick break.
but
Quick
what do you-
5-hour break.
Tara's like, what's it about? Just seven. It's about seven people.
Well, Mike, I don't
hanging out
want
together.
to spoiler alert with this box you speak of.
Well, you're not going to see it if you haven't seen it now.
What?
What happens
I'm
is this:
definitely
a
gonna
movie
see it.
that might be
23-year-old
that might be another
movie.
thing to put up against each other. Another reason why Zodiac didn't do as well is that a movie can be reduced to sound bites after a while. Like even me and Alex, before we started the episode, we're doing the American Office.
Oh,
quotes.
just like the quotes.
the quotes, and
Yeah.
then Seven has it like has scenes that stick out in your head. What'd you say? Yeah, it's Brad Pitt. Well, do you want to know what it is? At the,
No, don't tell her.
Yeah, are you going to see it?
Yeah, I'm inspired by this podcast.
I think
Yeah.
it's a brutal and it's a good movie.
Is
but
it
I
a
think you're right.
thumb?
It's a brutal movie.
Is it an ear or a thumb or something in the box?
you're close.
Let me guess
close.
what's in the box.
What's in the box?
This is
This
our
would've been
new
a-
segment. What's in the box?
A great segment that would have happened 23 years ago when the movie came out.
All right, let me give you some options. First, I said a thumb or an ear. Now, a gummy bear,
No.
socks,
No.
somebody's eye.
I thought you went like this.
I mean,
she literally just went from a thumb to an ear to a gum there to socks to somebody's eye.
Yeah, I know.
You're all over the
To-
map.
An eyeball.
Things that we were snacking on.
You're not like wrong. Yes, somebody's eyeball's in it. So
So a whole head.
yes.
Okay. I
And
was
it's-
picturing a small box, eyeball size.
Oh no! It wasn't like a ring box.
like a
That's
Tiffany
what
box.
I thought. That's why, when I said finger or ear, I'm picturing
That's
a
the-
box that can be held
That's
in a
the
hand.
deleted scene version.
That'd be funny if that was at the end of it was just a proposal.
Yeah.
It was just Brad picking
I
out
was
one day and
picturing
just
him
proposing.
holding this
was a
box
promposal.
saying, what's in the box?
What's in the box? Will you be my wife?
Oh,
What's in the box?
then Borat comes in. Oh my god, it's crazy.
He goes, my wife.
It's a brutal movie though, and I think it did inspire so many copycats off of it. But yeah, you should watch it. It's good.
I will. Okay,
Absolutely.
Zodiac stats. It's supposed to be stacks on stacks where we read them back to back
Stats
on
on stats on stats, yeah.
Stats on
Stacks
stats.
on stacks, back to backs.
Zodiac.
I love when you get into the stat voice.
It's a rated R, 2007
Sweaty balls.
crime film / thriller. Runs at 2 hours and 42 minutes. It has a 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb, 90% Rotten Tomatoes, a 4 out of 5 on the Zodiac review. I don't know what the hell that is.
That's the killer
And
review.
86% of Google users
Wait,
liked
it
this
added a
movie.
thing called the Zodiac review for it? It's just one guy who has a website called the Zodiac
And it only got a
Review.
4 out of 5 on that. So this movie features Jake Gyllenhaal, Robert
Yes.
Downey Jr., Mark Ruffalo, Chloe Sevigny.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, wow.
Good job.
Anthony Edwards, John Carroll Lynch, Brian Cox. It would be a really fun segment if we do read casts of movies and say who can stay and who can
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
2018 cast.
Oh, yeah.
Could they be in a movie today without everybody freaking out?
Yeah,
Who
like
gets hashtag?
or if the movie can, yeah,
And this works. They still can make this.
yeah. That's what I was noticing.
You're right. 7 they couldn't make.
I mean-
or it would change.
Yeah.
Who would you replace Kevin Spacey for as the killer in 7 if he couldn't? Now he couldn't do it because he was raping little boys.
I would have. Oh shit! You know the guy? He was in that Sandra Bullock movie, Murder by Numbers. He's like a weird looking.
Oh my God, that was a good one.
Michael Pitt.
Michael Pitt.
I think Michael Pitt.
I love this game.
No, literally, Michael Pitt was creepy. That's
He's a
good
creepy
call.
dude, and he was in. Did you ever watch the Hannibal TV show?
No,
One of
but
my favorites. He's a
played,
fucking
didn't he play
creepball
Kurt
in that.
Cobain also?
Did he? I don't know.
I think he did. But here, whatever happened to him?
He's in like random things. Like he was in Hannibal a couple of years ago.
You know who wouldn't have been bad as it? Hayden Christensen.
As-
Because one of my favorite movies is
the Attack of the Clones?
No, Shattered. Shattered Glass. You ever see Shattered
Yeah,
Glass?
Shattered Glass is
and
good.
He is a
Shattered
creepy.
Yeah, he's a weird
fuck
guy in that movie. Yeah,
Yeah. Did you ever end up watching Shattered Glass?
I
I've watched that
he's a
movie.
real
talking
fuck
about
boy
it.
in that movie.
Oh yeah.
Never heard of Shattered Glass.
It's Tom Cruise produced it, and the guy Billy Ray directed it, and it's a little indie movie about.
It's based on a true story, yeah.
Based on this guy Stephen Glass, who made up. He worked for the New Republic, and he made up like a majority of the stories that he wrote there, and it was
Oh,
this
wow.
huge scandal
Cool.
because
That
they were the
sounds fun.
standard of like a gold standard journalism.
Yeah.
and, you
I
know,
like
he like
that.
ruined him.
it's a really good movie. You should check it out.
Yeah.
I'm not ruining anything by saying that. But anyway, and
I got
also
one
if
to
you're listening,
watch.
check out Shattered Glass. But if you've seen it, you know Hayden Christensen. And I always, my big question lately has been like, is Hayden Christensen, was he just doing really good creepy acting in that movie, or is he just a creepy dude who found a great role for himself?
I think sometimes
as a creep.
time and place, and like you
Yeah.
can just like nail it with like a role.
Yeah. So, but I would you could put him in as the
Who would
the
you
serial killer.
replace Morgan Freeman with?
Bill Cosby? Oh shit, you can't do that either. Morgan Freeman, who would I replace him with? Oh, I'd probably go obscure. If I could do who I wanted, I'd do like Lester Freeman from The Wire.
Oh
I mean,
yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one.
I think his
Be
real
like
name,
a
what's his real name? I forget.
tired of it shit. Tired of the shit kind of guy.
But a really
I can't
great
remember that
actor.
guy's name. He's great.
Yeah, because Morgan Freeman's still a good actor, you know. But this guy,
I don't think that's the thing at issue. You know.
No, yeah. No, yeah.
I love
But
Morgan
it
Freeman.
kind of is the
acting.
issue with all those things happen. I'll tell you why. Because the minute especially with the comics when it happened, there were people like, "Well, what are you going to do now?" And I'm like, "I don't know, nothing." The guy's still a good comic. I'm not going.
Oh.
And it doesn't affect me at all.
Right.
You know?
You're just sort of like, well,
They were
Well, like
asking
Bill
what you're
Cosby.
gonna do about
I mean,
it?
like what happens now? What his legacy? It's like, well, he's still a funny comic. Like Bill Cosby kind of screwed himself because he was America's dad for 50 years.
Yeah.
his
40 years.
specific like
Yeah, his brand of
role
comedy, it's
is
like-
the
yeah.
irony.
his role in
is
pop culture and
too-
the horror of what he did was a little
Yeah.
too much for everybody.
Basically, we love Bill Cosby.
You No, so who would you replace Morgan Freeman with?
I haven't seen the movie. I have no idea.
But you know who Morgan Freeman is.
I don't know. It could be anyone. It could be John Hamm. I don't know.
John Hamm.
I go John Goodman.
Oh,
That'd
that's
be
cool.
great.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I got.
John Goodman.
I just always want to
so
see John Hamm.
Well, John Goodman's in that
Ham.
that movie Fallen that I said that was like.
He is in that movie.
He's such a great actor. Weren't you surprised that John Goodman did the Roseanne remake?
I was very surprised actually. That
and
he did that.
how glowingly he talks about it on Impress. You know, it got canceled.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got canceled like a couple hours ago. Yeah.
Roseanne had a racist tweet today. If you don't, this is when we're taping it.
Today,
today.
May 29th, 2018.
And she
Roseanne got
screwed her whole career.
canceled.
Yeah.
I was surprised that Goodman did that because I feel like he's been on such a roll on like great roles.
Yes,
Yeah.
But I bet they pitched it to him like this is going to be very respected. This is going to be like a mainstream American comedy. I don't know.
Well,
Yeah.
I think he just loved working on the last one so much.
I guess, yeah. He was
That's what it seemed like when he was talking about it.
underrated Goodman lately. Kong Skull Island. I really like that movie. Did you see that?
He's great in it.
Yeah.
Wait, you like that movie? I heard it stinks.
I liked it.
What about John C. Reilly? In the commercial, he looks annoying as hell.
He's not in it a lot.
Oh, okay.
So like he plays like a bonkers dude, but he's not in it.
I just went to look up Roseanne's Twitter, and she just has so few followers. She only has 692,000 followers. I feel like
I have more than that.
I mean, my
She's also
fucking
70. It's like she's not, yeah.
I know, but it's just like I don't know. Every
She was,
stupid
like, living on
person I
Hawaii.
look at has like 17 million.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
it's
sure,
just like
sure.
a striking difference. But she apologized. Yeah.
Okay, of course she did.
I am
That's
now
fine.
leaving Twitter. And then
What did she say? What's
she
the
said,
tweet?
I apologize to Valerie Jarrett and to all Americans. I am truly sorry for making a bad joke about her politics and her looks. I should have known better. Forgive me. My joke was in bad taste. That was after saying, I apologize. I am now leaving Twitter. I mean, she called this woman an ape.
Yeah.
I
It
know,
was
it's-
really
She's also
severe.
A lunatic. Who's like, I can't believe, level-headed Roseanne Barr?
Oh, yeah,
said
right.
something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that?
Who could have seen this coming?
With
So
a brand new pedestal she was given by,
by
corporate America.
Exactly. Let's go back to the movie. I think another thing that came up when you were doing stats on stats that I
Stats
think
on stats.
is why people check out, and it also speaks to a lot of what's going on now with people's attention spans. Zodiac is literally 40 minutes more than 7.
It's a long movie, but I think it's interesting to talk about these two movies because I feel like I said 7 started the trend of serial killer movies, and I feel like Zodiac is like the definitive end of that era. Like it kind of breaks down
So you think
the
since
idea.
Zodiac, they really haven't had much.
Well, I just think the way it breaks down the idea of the serial killer movie in general. Where like in Zodiac, the killings stop 40 minutes into the movie. There's 2 hours of movie left, and there's no killings that happen anymore.
That's a good point.
And it's like not about the killing. It's not about like so many movies like focus on like we gotta find we just want to know who the guy is, and then we're done with this movie.
When we mentioned it, I was talking about it last time. I think it was on one of the bonus episodes or something or when we had Patreon. They did apparently when they were doing the script and they were doing the movie, they wanted it to be exactly how the investigation went. So
Yeah.
that's why I think it's like that as well. So like in real life, what would happen is like the killings could have ended.
Right.
And then they still have to find the
Well,
guy.
it became
That's
about-
way more real life than anything else.
It becomes about the obsession of these guys.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Like it kind of mirrors the obsession of like
It's more
white
about
guys.
the reporters, or look at the
Right.
Robert Downey Jr. like just falling apart. Like that, it also shows like in real life what happens. Like that's why a lot of that stuff never gets solved because people's lives go on. They're just doing their job.
Right, the
It's-
mundane shit has to keep going
Yeah,
on.
it's not down to the last minute like a movie where it's like, oh my god, he has my wife. Oh my god, what's in the box? Oh my god, it doesn't come to that. Literally, they were just like, this is what happened, and we're gonna make this look as interesting as possible.
Right. I also think it's kind of a commentary on the culture of like, you know, the guy who gets interested in serial killers. You know, like people
yeah,
in
it's
Sure.
such an interesting trope.
right? Like a
People
guy's like, I'm
love.
so into serial killers. That's my Tinder bio or whatever, you know.
Right.
And then in that movie in Zodiac, they're kind of like, look what actually being into a serial killer does to your head and your brain, and like these are real lives at stake. Like Jake Gyllenhaal's character like falls in this deep like obsession with the Zodiac, and
Yeah.
then it's kind of like similar to like
Well, it becomes
what is,
this
like, a guy
code
who's-
breaker,
right.
and yeah.
Look at a guy in the real world who's like, I'm obsessed with it. It's like, are you? Look how horrible it actually is.
Manhunter.
Yeah. And then you also have people in the movie that are side characters that are people of interest as the Zodiac that are just same thing. They're just obsessed.
Right.
And the guy he goes to this one guy's basement at one point, and he's like coming down the stairs, and he goes down there, and the guy has all this creepy stuff related to the Zodiac, and then and I guess the guy, their main suspect in the movie, in real life. Like, he was the main suspect for a while for them, like, whatever that guy's name was. The guy
Arthur Lee Allen.
He played Arthur Lee Allen, yeah.
Yeah.
So the actor is the guy who played Drew Carey's brother on Drew Carey's show.
Good pull for what's his name?
I forget his name, but
John Carroll Lynch.
is that his name?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So anyway,
Chris is good with
that was good. You're
names.
good with your
Oh,
character
sorry.
names.
Yeah.
So
lonely teenager. lonely teenage boy.
So you're watching it through him, and like, and that's why I think to play devil's advocate, that's why if you're gonna shit on the movie, you're like, there's no resolution.
There isn't.
No,
right.
There's literally like you're watching Zodiac, and you're like, it's just him, because even I did that. I connected the dots when I was watching this movie, and I was like, it's him. It's gotta be him. It's him.
Yeah.
It's him. I'm just gonna say it's him. Like in my head, I'm like, it's John Carroll Lynch. It's Drew Carey's brother.
Right.
It's him. He did it. It's like he's so creepy. It makes the most sense. But in real life, they say he didn't do it.
But they said don't clear. I mean, it's been like amended and re-amended where they're like, don't eliminate the suspect based on DNA only, which is like their DNA matches weren't as sophisticated. So he's sort of still a suspect in that.
Is that true? Yeah. But
Yeah.
now he's got to be dead at this point.
Oh, he's been dead
so
for a
dead.
long time.
Yeah. So it's one of those things.
But
where
also,
it's
like that puts you in the place. That's what I mean. Like you're watching Zodiac as a person conditioned to watch serial killer movies, and Zodiac is telegraphing like, this is the guy, and the characters in the movie are like, this is the guy, and you're like, this is the guy, and then the story just like is like, yeah, it sure seems like it. Guess what? We couldn't get him.
And
so like that's like real life.
It's
You know?
way more realistic.
Yeah, it like
and
plays
that's
with
more,
you.
That's more interesting than if it's like the same.
Yeah,
like you're
I
saying
like
with
that.
tropes, where it's the same trope over and over again. It's like, we got him at the end in his dungeon, and he had 3 girls tied up. We saved a whole bunch of or it's like, that's like the kiss the girls type thing.
Right.
Or even with 7, it's like they involved the cop. It's like, no, he never killed.
Right, because it's like it's cinematic and it like works for that purpose. But
And they also made like there's a scene in Zodiac, I've talked about it before, where one of the killings he does, he's in all the leather, and it's in broad daylight, and it's one of the scariest things I've ever seen.
it's horror, like the Lake Berryessa killing.
They must do. I don't know what they do with the shooting a shot of it, but the sound, it's almost like they cut the sound out for a second or something they do that you're like it's so brutal because they just show the stabbing.
This one I am not gonna
but they
watch.
make it so realistic. But I'm saying like
7.
that's why I love it
fine.
so much more, because you're like it's for real. This actually happened.
Yeah.
That adds to the legitimacy of it being fucked up so much more.
Fincher's also like a notoriously like meticulous guy to a degree that is like it seems a little annoying if you work with him. Like he does like a million takes and is very
does he?
like, but like to your point where they're like, we're going to follow the real investigation. Apparently there's an anecdote about how Robert Graysmith was showing them like the lake.
Yeah.
The guy Jake Gyllenhaal plays is
That
still
lake
alive.
where they got stabbed?
He was like showing the lake and
The guy survived on that lake stabbing.
right.
Yeah.
Right. But
he was a witness.
Graysmith showing them the lake, and Fincher is like so fucking maniacal in his brain. He goes, actually, I think it's the spot over there. And Graysmith, who investigated it for like 30 years, was like, fuck, yeah, you're right. Sorry, yeah. And Fincher like called her. I was like, actually, I think it's the one over there. And yeah, it's a crazy story.
Wow,
Yeah.
because he's so obsessed.
He's
with,
he's just like
so he just
everything's gotta be
he recognized it from the reading.
from reading and like the maps and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a great story.
That's crazy.
But he also seems like kind of a pain in the ass director.
Yeah, but that's what you need. Like, think about how hard that job is. Like, I think it's one of those things where that's why there's so many blowouts when it comes to directors. Like, the sign of a good director is like you're half an asshole. That's why Tarantino half an asshole.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
That had the whole Uma Thurman thing when she forced her to like in the car or something and she almost got killed. Half an asshole, but nobody complains because they're like, we know he has a vision for what he wants.
Right, but that's unforgivable. The Uma Thurman thing.
What was it that he put her in the car? I thought it was like he put her.
I never heard about this.
It was the race car in Kill Bill,
Yeah,
right?
and she didn't want to do it, and it was not something that an actor should have been in. And I think like there was like a roll cage that was in there. It was like,
oh my God,
it was a very scary thing. And I think like on set stuff is very.
I think people get very intense.
That's fucked up.
I think when they're on set, I've never obviously.
But they try to skirt the system, and they try to like save money, and they try to like just do this thing, and we're done for the day. It was like that woman who got killed in the train tracks in Georgia. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. There was like a crew member. They were like, just go out there, and she was like, everybody's like, no, we shouldn't do this. And then a fucking train came through the set.
God.
And like, yeah.
Jeez. Yeah. So
Anyway.
yeah, no, but
No,
and
it's
that's
true.
what
It's a
happens.
very psychological thing. Like you're in your own world,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of pressures and power.
But
and-
they're hailed as geniuses when they do this stuff because they're like, "Oh, you're getting what you want out of the thing."
Yeah. I mean, I think like you do have to be like you have. I think there's a fine line between being a demanding, like creative and an asshole.
Yeah.
And I think like you can skirt that line a lot and kind of weave back and forth. But
Well-
if you fall over the side too often,
Well, look at Spike Lee. It's kind of crazy. Spike Lee forced Rosie Perez to go topless and do the right thing, or
Yeah.
well, she's got to have it, or
yeah,
one of them,
yeah.
and also they like for her that sex scene, like they said that he was just really verbally abusive the whole time they filmed it.
yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah. At what point are you like,
A dick. And
yeah,
what point
a good director
what point
versus a
you-
bad person?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think it's a little bit of both all the time because I think there's like redeeming qualities of these guys, but also at the same time, the reason that they're in that position is because they got themselves to that position by being half an asshole.
It's a tough job. I mean, you got to
it's like
wrangle the
Harvey Weinstein
entire
thing.
set. Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about the Harvey Weinstein thing a long time ago when it first broke, and I was like, and I think Farry got a little mad at me because I was describing how I honestly believe that, and I think it's horrible that it's the case, but his whatever is in his personality that makes him think that he was owed would do whatever he wanted with these women is the reason he got to the point that he was in Hollywood. Like his bullying fucking piece of shit nature is why people just let him clear the path.
Right. Well,
and
you get
become- yeah.
rewarded for bad behavior. You
Right.
keep doing it.
Right,
I mean,
exactly.
I mean,
I don't know
that's-
how we got on this topic, but yeah.
Yeah, no, but I think it's just like
Always.
being a demanding director.
Yeah.
But I think it's like sets. You've been on movie sets
Yeah.
and TV sets. It's a dangerous place for entitlement. It happens
Yeah.
before you know it, where you're like, you get on a set and you're like, somebody's like, "Hey, can I get you a coffee?" And then the next day you're like, "Hey, can you maybe get me a coffee?" And then like 3 weeks later you're like, "Where the fuck is my coffee?" Right? Like it's just like it's so because
and if
they exist to serve you.
And if if you're famous and they need you, it's like that power is like so tangible. You know,
Right,
like, yeah,
right. And
exactly.
but then it's like, how are you going to handle that? I think Bill Murray has a quote in that SNL book where he's like, when you get famous, you have like 1 or 2 years to be like an asshole, and if you're not over it, then that's just like who you are.
Yeah, right. And also, a lot of people who were another thing they say about people who were assholes that are famous, they're like, a lot of those people were going to be that no matter what. Like they were a version of that before they were famous.
Sure,
anyway.
yeah.
Maybe not as vocal, maybe not as obviously like that, but they were assholes.
But then
And-
it's just
and they
amplified.
yeah, it's amplified with the money and
When
the, power.
the money
yeah.
and also just like when people are like, "What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? What do you need?"
Right. Yeah. Well, that's the Dane Cook thing. I think that happened. I really almost can't blame him in a way because he literally was surrounded by yes men. He came out with that second special, which
Makes
was
people
terrible.
fucking crazy.
People go crazy.
People go nuts.
Now I think we should go over. Let's recap, and I will say we're going to agree on this. And Farrah, you haven't seen both movies. You're going to see one or the other. So
Based on what
you're
we
going to see
said,
Seven,
Yeah.
but not Zodiac.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Zodiac is a better movie.
I think Zodiac is Fincher's greatest movie.
Now does
Well,
Zodiac?
then that kind of makes me want to see it. If you're saying it's the best,
Oh, it's
of
great.
This,
Now
Watch
here's
them
the
both
thing.
in one
didn't
night.
sell
Have a little
it.
murder night for
you didn't
yourself.
sell it as that.
Is it all pointless? The
Sounded
Zodiac is the reason
disappointing.
why Zodiac's so good because Seven existed.
I think Seven informs Zodiac because they're both Fincher movies. Like I think like one really does inform the other. I think he made the two definitive statements on serial killers in cinema.
I think you're right, and I think he did a great job. And it's also one of those things where it's like, I think it goes back to what we were saying originally is the fact that he's not. It's got to come down to writer, director, or director. Like when you don't have that writer director in front of your name,
Yeah.
you don't get hailed as much of a artist or a genius. If you're just like, it's almost like you're a hired hand. Like we attach David Fincher, he's amazing. Like I'm sure he has a great reputation in Hollywood. I don't know what his reputation is.
And you know, like a director still like beats a script into shape. You know what I mean? Like just
Yeah.
because he didn't get a writing credit on it doesn't mean he's not working on the script.
Right,
I think
exactly.
people don't necessarily know the correlation. Like I think being a director is a job that I think a lot of people don't know what they do. And I love movies, and it's still hard because they wrangle a set. They
Yeah.
do like a ton of different things.
a ton of different jobs. Well, you know,
And
who-
like editing can
Well,
make a movie.
right.
what it
That's the other
is.
thing. Where it's like
Completely,
that's who
so.
really should be famous is the editors.
I mean, there's actors who are like I've
But
worked on.
don't the directors direct the editors?
That's why
or-
when you
They have a say in it.
They have a say in it, but that's why you have director's cuts. The editors, they're working for the studio, so they're I think most movies they're trusted to do what they're going to do.
Oh,
but
I
It
didn't know
depends
that.
on the director. Like Scorsese had Thelma Schoonmaker,
yeah,
who like
she died.
They were just like they worked hand in hand.
Yes. And Tarantino had Sally Menke.
Yeah,
And then she died, I think, as well,
fair.
right? And the thing is, that's why the editors are so crucial. That's why you know about them. Because would those movies be as good without the editors? Probably not.
I mean, everything goes into it, right? I've read interviews where actors are like, I've worked on movies where like every day we were like, we're making a hit, and like it
Yeah.
came out and bombed, and then we're like, I'm working on a piece of shit, and it was like a giant movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So I think, what would the reasons be why you think Zodiac's a better movie? And even just working on it separately, not that one. I guess we come to the conclusion that it does feed. One does feed the other one.
Yeah,
Seven,
I think so.
Seven, they came out 20 years apart, or what? 10 years apart?
No.
20 years apart.
Yeah.
No, 2008 and 95.
Stats on stats.
12 years. It came out 12 years.
12 years apart. There's a lot of in between. Everybody changed. I think people got more cynical. I think from having those movies exist, that whole genre we were talking about, you kind of expected. That's
Yeah.
another reason. That might be my main reason why Zodiac's so much better. Because, like you said,
Yeah.
it was realistic and it turned it on its head. You had no resolution. You had
Right.
the end.
The only resolution you get is that scene where Jake Gyllenhaal goes and just looks at him.
and then it's almost like he's saying, "You did it."
He's like, this is my piece with it. Like I have. This
Yeah.
is my resolution.
Yeah.
And
They needed they needed a button. They needed like a cap. They needed like a
they needed to have him just do like the little LeBron chalk hands in the air. I think Zodiac is better just because I think it's Fincher working at like the top of his game.
Yeah.
And like he had been at that point making movies for like quite a while, and that movie, like he was for so long associated with Seven as like his greatest movie.
Yes, you're right. Yeah.
And even
And
when
then-
Fight Club came out, I think people still had Seven as that.
But you know what I think? I don't think he's ever been associated with this. I think he's associated with Social Network now, if anything else.
I
think
still
they
don't
brought
think-
that up because it was whatever, and then. But this should have
agree.
been. This you're right. This is
is
the
his high
best thing
point.
he's done. This is
Yeah.
a Paramount fucking movie that literally slipped through the cracks. And the only reason I can guess is probably different factors. When it came out a weird time, so I don't
came
think
out
it was
March.
eligible. Yeah,
It came out like March
Yes.
2007. It came out like the beginning of that Oscar cycle that everybody forgets about those movies.
Exactly. And then on top of that, it was very long. And on top of that, it didn't have a resolution. So I think like there's probably people who could make the case like, oh, it's not as good as you think it is, or it's not his best work. But I agree. I think it reminds you of Hitchcock in a way. He created suspense. There's so many suspenseful parts of that movie, way more than Seven. They've
Yeah, and
done it
the-
in such a better way.
And the great thing is
and
you're
shot better, I think.
they're sort of full of shit suspense moments in a fun
Yeah,
way. Where
yeah.
like in
They're
the basement,
misleading.
like the's no reason for you to be scared.
Yeah. That's what I love. It's
But you're
this-
you're freaking out. But like when you look back on it, you're like, that guy wasn't going to do anything.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
It was like this mind game
Yeah.
thing that was going on throughout the whole movie. Because you're right, because the whole time he's looking for somebody. There's weird phone calls, but nothing ever actually happens.
Right, right. I don't know.
Except for the murders, but
And I think it works just as like the statement on like where serial killers movies went after Seven came out. Like he just closed the door on it.
Well, I think what else did you have? You had American Psycho, which that was what 2001 maybe.
I think there was just like a lot of trash ass ones. Like
Yeah, there
like
was-
Kiss
very
the Girls, like
campy.
you said, and
Yes,
like
Kiss the
all
Girls
these
was like
Ashley Judd movies.
just
And
big budget box office, which I don't think you would see that in
you're gonna say big butt.
big butt movies. Big butt serial
Serial
killer
killers
movies.
with big asses.
Big butt 1, Big butt 2.
Sounds good.
Big butt 3, Breaking.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah.
I'll see that.
Well,
I think we should see Book Club for the Patreon.
Oh my god, you guys totally should see Book Club.
I'll do that.
That would be super fun.
Only if you can sneak in some rosé though.
No,
Some of
Sean's
those, eh?
birthday party was my last drink of alcohol.
yeah.
I'm announcing it.
Oh yeah?
There was
I mean, we'll see, but
she's actually gonna drink.
no, for real.
you don't drink that much to begin with, that's why.
I don't. So, like, I did for Sean's birthday, and I'm like, it'll be nice to always remember Sean's 40th birthday
As
was
the
the
last
last
time.
drink
Good
I
for
had.
you.
I saved your life.
Yep.
Someone saved my life
Yes,
tonight.
from my
Sugar
once
man.
every 3 months drinking now to no drinking. My life has been saved.
Chris, thank you so much for doing this. man.
Thanks, this is great.
You're
Yeah.
the king.
I appreciate
You're
it.
the king.
You're the king
baby.
of Fincha.
Anything you want to plug? Your podcast?
When is this-
Twitter, Instagram?
when
It will
is
come
this
out
coming?
probably Friday.
Oh, great. I have a show tomorrow called Stories from People Who Poop Their Pants, sponsored by Squatty Potty, and that'll be at Pine Box Rock Shop at 8 p.m.
Wait, when is that?
June 2nd.
Oh, June 2nd. Okay.
Saturday
at Pine Box Rock Shop. And then I have a podcast called Morning Coffee where we talk about grief, mourning, loss, and death. And Real Chris Cal on Twitter and Instagram.
Farrah, anything you want to say?
Just follow me on Twitter, please. My family won't let me go home for Thanksgiving this year if I don't break 10,000 followers.
Get her those Roseanne numbers.
I'm really trying to get to Roseanne. I think I deserve more followers than Roseanne. If you agree, just please follow me. I'm also on Instagram, causing a hoot over there. I'm one step away from butt pictures, really. That's the status.
Butt 1, butt 2, butt 3.
Yeah.
I'm at Shoney Time on Instagram and Twitter. We're at Defend Your Movie on Twitter, and we'll Defend Your Movie at gmail.com on email. Send us an email. Let me know what you think.
Give us your feedback. Didn't you say someone emailed you about me and you never told me what it was?
Oh, that was a while ago, I think.
He's trying to save you from something.
Let's do it at the top of next episode because people might have turned this off by now.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much to Showbiz Studios. They have a a YouTube and an iTunes page, and Alex runs it, and he's amazing, and he got me a Seinfeld shirt for my birthday that says...
He didn't get me anything for my birthday.
Prognosis negative on the shirt. It's fantastic. And thank you guys so much for listening, and we love you, and goodbye.
Bye.